What a very good evening to all of you. I am delighted to be back on GB News. Been quite a bit going on in my life, one way and t'other. It is, of course, today, the 3rd of June. 1 year ago today, I announced my retirement from active politics had ended and decided I'd stand in the general election. And the reason I've not been with you for the last couple of months is, of course, because I've been leading a party fighting the English local elections. It's been a very busy and, I think, from my perspective, very productive time. It certainly had an impact, what a very big impact on the Prime Minister, who seemed to mention me 16 times in his speech the other day, which is quite remarkable. Anyway, I'm back on GB News and we're discussing the issues of the day and some stories that you might not yet have heard of, but perhaps should. As you know, last Saturday was the biggest day this year for the number of people, young men mostly, that crossed the English Channel. The numbers are 42% up on the year from this time last year and 95% up on the same point in 2023. In fact, the numbers that came on Saturday, just shy of 1,200, were the second biggest day ever in all of this. And normally, you would expect the biggest days to be August, September into October, especially when not just calm weather, but when sea temperatures are higher. If I was paying a trafficker to cross the channel, I'd want to come when the sea was warmer and not colder. But I find it pretty extraordinary, this whole saga, that Number 10 say it's because of the number of red days, the number of days when people are able to cross, and that's why the numbers are up. And yet, the Conservatives tried the same trick. A couple of Christmases back, James cleverly said this is the first Christmas in years that people have not crossed the channel, leading me to retort, you may be called cleverly, but you're clearly a moron. I'm close to Dover now. The wind has been gusting at 50 miles an hour. That is why there are no migrant crossings. You're all charlatans and liars and all deserve to lose your seats at the election. Well, it was Christmas time. Perhaps I was refreshed, I don't know. But it was blowing at 50 miles an hour. But there were the Conservatives claiming credit. But the truth was, the bad weather meant they couldn't. Following all of that, the former Labour leader Neil Kinnock said, following dropping crossings last year, Sunak took credit and claimed it had nothing to do with the weather. Now numbers are up, he blames the weather. Time to replace Tory boats chaos with Labour's cross-border police unit and 1,000 new immigration enforcement officers. And here we are with Labour doing it again. So both sides try to pretend that it's all because of the weather. But the truth is, are Labour credible when they say things like this? Tweet #Farage on GB News or email farage@gbnews.com. I think it's all nonsense. I'm joined by Kevin Saunders, former Chief Immigration Officer for Border Force over in Cali. Kevin, we all know that people come when it's calmer than when it's rougher. But frankly, for both sides to try and claim credit or blame the weather, frankly, is ignoring the real problem, isn't it?
Oh, isn't it just, Nigel? It's so ridiculous, it's just not true. What's happening in real life is that this government have got no idea on how they're going to stop the boats. And all that's happening is the migrants are saying, thank you very much. And they're coming over whenever they possibly can. And it will continue. The biggest mistake that Starmer made was getting rid of Rwanda. We should have given Rwanda a chance. It might not have worked, but certainly without it, there is now no deterrent.
Well, I agree there's no deterrent, Kevin, but just to come back at you on that, Rwanda didn't work because when that plane was on the tarmac, about to go, at 10 p.m. in Strasbourg, a judge said it couldn't go. Wasn't that really the problem?
Well, I mean, yes, we tend to blame Strasbourg. But the Europeans fall afoul of Strasbourg and they just ignore it.
Yes.
As you well know, yes. Nigel, yes. The Europeans, if they don't like what Strasbourg say, yes, they ignore it and carry on. And I had a conversation with a French colleague about Strasbourg, and he shrugged his shoulders, as the way the French do, and say they'll see us in court in 10 years' time. Then it'll all be over and all be forgotten. Isn't that just true?
Yeah. No, Kevin, it is true, but we Brits are a law-abiding type, you see. That's the whole point, and we join a club and we obey its rules. One last quick thought, Kevin. Seems to me that the numbers this year could just go through the roof. Seems to me the French aren't really playing ball, despite having been given and pledged a staggering £800 million since 2014.
Yeah, they're getting £500,000 to stand on the beach and take photos of people getting in boats. I find it ridiculous, Nigel. We see the French riot police out in Paris en masse dealing with rioters after a football match.
Yeah.
And yet the gendarmerie in northern France, which actually has some CRS operatives in, are too frightened to go and deal with the people because, and I quote, they're throwing stones at us.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. Poor darlings. Kevin Saunders, as ever, a pleasure to have you on the panel. I'm joined by Lord Stephen McCabe, recently a member of the House of Lords after many years as an MP, Heather Wheeler, former Conservative Member of Parliament and former Parliamentary Secretary in the Cabinet Office. Let's face it, Stephen, smash the gangs never meant a blooming thing, did it?
Well, I'm not sure I'm going to agree with that at all. I think it is difficult, and I think we have seen some of the problems, the difficulties that the French are having coordinating intelligence to stop the boats. I think actually what Keir was doing in Albania the other week was right, because that is one of the key locus points for some of the traffic from Africa and the Middle East. So, I mean, if you're going to try and smash the gangs, then you actually have to go further back. And we did see, I think it was just last week, didn't we, the sentencing of the first gang boss in this country. So the problem is not enough is occurring at the moment. I don't think this is an easy problem. I mean, quite honestly, anybody who says they've got a glib answer to this, I think is probably a fool or a liar. But it's clear we're going to have to do more, and we're going to have to step up the action with other partners if we're going to be able to smash the gangs.
Where I take issue is this, that Australia faced the same problem. Remember a few years ago, the boats were coming from Indonesia. Yeah. They were bigger boats with more people on them, but it was a similar problem. And in the end, Tony Abbott, the Prime Minister, gave up. He tried all the other routes available. He just towed the boats back to Indonesia. The UN went mad. The EU went mad. The British Foreign Office went mad. But the boats stopped coming. Aren't we going to have to do something? I mean, I've urged the Prime Minister twice to declare an emergency, given that I think there is a grave national security implication. Isn't it time we did something radical?
Well, I mean, I don't. It might sound good to say we'll tow the boats back to France. I'm sure that would do a great deal for our broader cooperation with them and other things. You know?
I get the point. I understand that it's not without risk, but public opinion won't put up with this, will it?
No, I think the public are very distressed. My own view is there has to be greater international cooperation. There has to be faster processing of people who arrive here. And I would prefer to see offshore processing so that we could actually make it easier for legitimate people to come and less of an incentive for illegitimate people to arrive.
I was pretty angry with Mr. Cleverly, as that Christmas tweet showed. But the point was, we had years of a Conservative government, different prime ministers, different home secretaries, different plans, and nothing changed. And it looks like it's going to get even worse now.
The difficulty is, exactly as you say, it is weather permitting, isn't it? And because we've got very, very good weather at the minute, it is just phenomenal. I thought the idea about smashing the gangs was that they were finding the way of the great big inflatables coming through Turkey and Germany. I thought the whole point of that was that they were going to be stopping. They weren't going to get from either Turkey to Germany or Germany to France. But that seems to have gone out the window.
Well, that's what I mean about trying to tackle it further back. To be honest, by the time they reach France, we've got a specific problem, but the numbers who are reaching France are a much bigger part of the problem.
But isn't the problem, Stephen, it's a bit like saying we're going to smash the drug gangs, right? I've been hearing for decades, we're going to smash the drug gangs. It almost doesn't matter how many gang leaders you put in prison or how long you put them in prison for. It almost doesn't matter how hard you try to stop dinghies that are being manufactured in Turkey coming in. Reason being, the financial rewards for the traffickers are so great, there's always somebody else to fill their shoes.
Yes, and actually part of smashing any major criminal element like that is to try and collapse the market, which is why you have to have other methods of cooperation as well. And when you do succeed in tackling some of the big players, you've got to take their assets off them.
Yeah.
Well, I get that point. I just think the money's so great, more people will come. Isn't the real truth of this that the only way we stop people coming is if we send out a message that if you come here illegally, through an illegal route, you won't be able to stay, you'll never get indefinite leave to remain?
Well, that's exactly what we tried to do, and as ever, we got pushback from the courts and from all the lovely people that get very upset about these things. But you're quite right. I mean, at the end of the day, we're a sovereign country, and we should be able to say what our laws are. And that's it for me.
So you feel the ECHR is a major barrier?
It's going to go. It's going to go.
It's going to go?
Yeah.
It's going to go. It's interesting. Going back a few years, when David Blunkett was Home Secretary, I'm saying 20 years ago, maybe almost 25 years ago, the ECHR was less active than it is these days. And Kevin Saunders' point was a good one, that we obey all the rules and everybody else ignores them. But when Blunkett was Home Secretary, he wouldn't have put up with this, would he? He'd have just deported people back to their home countries.
Well, I think we did have the problem of votes for prisoners during that period, and that was an ECHR
which they ignored.
Ruling. Well, we strung it out for a very long time. Look, I mean, I think I wouldn't be obsessed with the ECHR there. I think we can afford to challenge the rulings. I think there's a wider argument about reform of that court. But the reality here is that we've actually got to get more control. The point you made a second ago, making it clear that these people won't get citizenship would be one of the best. And the government has taken a big stride in that direction the other week.
Well, we could go further and say you won't get indefinite leave to remain.
We could, but actually at this stage, there will be some people in those boats, and you know this as well as me, who will actually pass the genuine refugee test. So you can't, it seems to me, you're assuming in advance what the outcome is. I think you can say if you come here by that route, you will not get citizenship.
Yeah. Well,
and that would be something that would be a big disincentive.
Yeah.